Hi guys, welcome back to another vlog. Today I am reading 3 new thriller releases that I am very excited about. If you can hear any of the background noise, I am currently pet sitting. I'm in a house sitting, pet sitting situation, so the little puppy is kind of running around and we'll have some fun with her later. But I'm gonna go over the 3 books real quick. I have Radiant Heat by Sarah Jane Collins. Very excited for. So this one has a very interesting premise. Our main character is Allison and she lives in Australia, and unfortunately a very bad wildfire has spread throughout the land, like a bushland fire, and she had to evacuate. When she gets back to her home, there's this woman who's sitting in a car and she's covered in soot and she is dead, but she's also holding something I think it's she's clutching a piece of paper with Allison's name on it, but Allison doesn't know this woman, or does she? So I'm very excited. This looks like a good kind of summery thriller, I guess, just the cover with all the warm colors on it. So I'm very excited to read this. All right, this next one is Kill for Me, Kill for You by Steve Kavanaugh, and I'm really excited. I've never read anything by this author. Same with Sarah Jane Collins. All of these authors are actually new to me, so I'm really excited to read some by them. So this one has kind of 2 plots that we're following. One is these 2 women who are both out for these men in their lives who've really wronged them in one way or another, but they want justice, and they want the purest form of justice, I guess, like murder. And they just can't get close enough to the guy to get away with it. Well, one night they're having drinks, they're getting to know each other, and I guess one of them kind of pitches to the other, like, hey, what if I take your guy out for you and you take out the guy I want? They swap plans, basically. So I'm very curious about how that's gonna be set up. It's a very intense thing to trust a stranger with. I'm curious about how that's gonna go. And at the same time, we're following Ruth, who has been brutally attacked in her apartment and is in the hospital, and she's fighting for her life and she's trying to get back on track with her life. And this man had piercing blue eyes, and she's just feeling like she's never going to be able to relax or move on with her life while this blue-eyed stranger's out there. So I'm really excited for this. It is multiple points of views. I don't know, I'm curious. I think I'm gonna start with the next one, but I don't know, this one it's a strong contender. And then last but not least, we have She's Not Sorry by Mara Kubica. This was one of the books that was on my most anticipated thrillers. I'll link that video above, as well as the playlist, if you want to check out some new thriller release content. So this one basically takes place with our main character, Mary. She's a nurse. She works in the ICU. So she's used to seeing a lot of, really scary, unfortunate health emergencies because of where she works, and she's been trained to detach herself. But she's unable to do that with this one patient who comes in, Caitlin. Caitlin is a young woman, and she is said to have jumped off a bridge, and she's just barely hanging on to life. It's a miracle she's survived, basically. But there's something about Caitlin and some of the stuff that's coming out that leaves Mary to think that she didn't actually jump. She might have been pushed. There's more going on. There's also some kind of patient at the, this ward who's watching them or is somehow involved. So I'm really curious about that. I think we're gonna start with this one. I've never read anything by any of these authors, but I am excited. I'm planning on jumping on some reading sprints tonight to hopefully fly through at least one of these. So I will give you guys an update later. And I'm planning on making some tacos for dinner. So I'm very excited. We're gonna have a fun, cozy night and a couple of days pet sitting and hanging out together and reading some new thriller releases. So let me know what you're reading down below in the comments, or if you've read any of these, let me know what your thoughts are. I always love to hear that. And let's get going. don't even know, like 3 hours into reading tonight. Had the tacos. I put off the tacos for an hour, which is why I like scarfed them and didn't take very much time to make them, because I was so hungry because I got sucked into one of these books. But I also already have a DNF. Any guesses? Leave me a guess down below. Which one am I DNFing? All right, the one I'm DNFing, guys, I got about 70 pages in, and in total it's like 324, 30 pages or so. She's Not Sorry. And this was one I was so excited about. It was on my most anticipated, I think like spring thriller releases. I think is when this came out for this year. And I'm just not loving it. I'm not entertained. For me, a thriller, above all else, I just want fast, entertaining, like can't put it down feeling. For me, with a mystery, I can be a little more patient. I can, you know, maybe the plot, if it doesn't shock me, that's fine, but you know, more about the characters or the setting or like the vibes. The thriller, I want that thrill, you know? So I got, you know, a decent way into this book, over 25%, and I just, basically nothing's really happened that isn't in the synopsis. I mean, we've learned a little bit. There was an interesting, I think a prologue where we learned something that is thrilling that's going to happen later in the book. So that was a good start. Like it started off decent, but we are now like 70 some pages and I feel like very little has happened. We've, you know, we've met Caitlin, we've met Mary, we've met the strange patient or something in the ward who, I don't know. I don't really know what is going on with that. He doesn't seem to be a big character yet. If he is, maybe he is later. I don't know. But at this point, I'm just like, okay. I don't know. And I just don't really care about Mary. And one of the points of her character is that she's somebody who's working very hard in life to provide as a single mom for a teen daughter. And her teen daughter is fine, but I don't really care. Like, I'm just not finding myself caring about the story. And I feel like nothing's really happening. And I just don't... I'm not having fun, so I am DNFing it, unfortunately. If you enjoyed this or if you read it, what were your thoughts? I'd love to know, even if it's very different from my own. Of course, everyone's got different tastes, but I don't know. I feel like nothing's really happened. So that's kind of my thoughts on that. Now, the one I am loving, and I'm flying through this. Like, I should finish this tonight. That's how fast I'm flying through this. And I mean, it's a cozy Thursday night. I planned for tonight to be big on reading sprints, all that. So really fun with that, but it's Kill for Me, Kill for You. I have been flabbergasted multiple times by this thriller. It is picking up so quickly. The first like 30, 40 pages, not super fast paced, but it was establishing necessary information about the characters and stuff. And then it quickly picked up and I just have been flying. I can't even believe how fast. I'm on page 254. Wow, okay, that's a lot. I mean, I only put this down for like 15 minutes to feed the cute puppy I'm taking care of and to saute that ground beef and chop up some vegetables. And then I promptly assembled my first taco and started reading more of this. That's how little I've put it down. I'm so fascinated right now. This is going in so many directions and I'm just so fascinated. I don't know how all of this is going to come together, but I am incredibly fascinated at this point, and it's just like interesting, and I'm enjoying both storylines equally. So we have the storyline with the two women who agree to kill for each other, and then we have the other storyline with the woman who suffers an attack, a brutal attack after a home invasion, and her husband are trying to work past it and identify the killer and stuff like that. I'm enjoying both of these equally. Maybe the two women killing for each other a little bit more, but I'm enjoying both pretty equally. They're both very interesting. I feel like you are reading from a lot of perspectives. You get to read from the detective's perspective, you get to read from some of the women's perspectives, even the husband at some points, but I'm finding it very easy to keep the storyline straight. I'm not having any issues with that. So I feel like the writer does a really good job of differentiating the tone and just giving you good hints and cues so you're not confusing the storylines, which is great. I'm so fascinated. I don't know how this is gonna end, but I can't wait. So we're gonna go ahead and do some more reading because reading sprints are still going on and I need to know how this ends. I'm not going to bed until I do. Fortunately, it's only like 6:40 p.m. right now, so I have time, but I need to know how this ends. And I am really bummed out about She's Not Sorry though. That is, I don't know, I couldn't get into it. I'm not sure. I don't know what it was quite. I didn't really love the characters. I wasn't feeling like the plot was really getting going. I wasn't really, even with the interesting prologue that sets you up to have like this on the edge of your seat, you know something's gonna happen. At the same time, I'm just not that, like, I don't care. I don't know. I don't know. So I'm really sad about that, but we are on our second thriller for this vlog and it's going well. So I'm really excited to see how this one ends. I was just filming some B-roll of me reading and I just read one of the huge twists of this and my what? It's just so good. Oh, it's so good. Okay, I'm really excited. I can't wait to finish this. I'll update you guys when I'm finished, but wow, my brain is just like continuously being blown by this book. It's really good. I don't know if this author, no, it says he's the best-selling and award-winning author of several books, so I'm definitely going to need to check out other books. If you have recommendations that you like by this author, let me know, because right now I am so excited. This is great. This is amazing. Can't wait. See you guys in a little bit. I just finished this. It's really dark outside, so the natural lighting's gone, so I have this lamp on my face, so I'm sorry if the lighting's a little off. You should read this. If this sounds interesting to you at all, I recommend this wholeheartedly. This is a 5 stars for me. I am floored right now. I just finished it like a minute and a half ago, and the ending for this, on multiple levels, my heart is just, I'm conflicted in so many ways, but it's like the best type of conflicted, like a really good thinking where the author leaves you really thinking and just going over it again and again in your head, and the twists in this, man, this was so well done. Wow. When they say that it's unguessable and unputdownable, yes. I honestly, besides taking very quick breaks to film and making those tacos, which I then ate while reading, I haven't put this book down. This was I sat down and read it, and that's it. And I'm in the last few paragraphs of this. My heart, okay. I really recommend this book. This was really good. I am really tired. It's quite late, and I'm definitely more of a morning person, so I'm very tired at the moment, but I wanted to give you an update before I went to bed, and wow, I strongly recommend this book. I will definitely be checking more out from this author. I mean, and what was great about it too was there was no point in this book where it lagged or slowed down or anything. Like, it just felt like consistently amazing the whole time. I mean, the first 30 or 4 pages, like I said, you're kind of setting up the characters and the plot, but otherwise, once the plot gets rolling, it is rolling and just accelerating faster and faster, but it still wraps up nicely, which I appreciate because I want to know where the characters are after. I really don't like it when a book is like, oh, this is, the plot climax, the end. I like to have a little bit of a update on what happens after, and it was perfect. This was perfect. Wow, I'm a fan. This is a really good thriller. So I just wanted to give you guys an update. I will start the last thriller tomorrow. I wasn't expecting to be through 2 thrillers in one day, but I ended up DNFing one, so that kind of sped it up. And this was just so bingeable that I got through it in record time. So I'll see you guys tomorrow and we will start the Radiant Heat. So I am about halfway through Radiant Heat right now. I've been doing some reading sprints this morning, hopping on some friends' channels and just participating in the sprints, and that's been helping. And it's going. I think it's pretty good so far. The main character, I'm gonna say she is pretty unlikable. She is not a likable character. I really don't feel a whole lot of anything good towards her other than just sympathy, because of course she's been through this horrible wildfire situation and she's found someone in her driveway who has passed away. I mean, obviously she's been through a very tragic situation, but my patience with her is pretty rapidly running out, because at this point I'm over halfway into the book and now she keeps making really dumb mistakes. However, I am curious. There's been some interesting twists and turns with this book and kind of where it's going and how the person who was in her driveway, you know, connects back to her. So I'm curious to see how it's going to be finalized. I don't know. I do want to say I feel like this is more of a mystery than a thriller. There's some thriller, you know, influence, you know, you definitely have like the wildfire at first is a big danger, of course, for the main character, and there's something else like that's kind of brewing that's dangerous, but for the most part this feels more like a mystery than a thriller. So I want to clarify that because I think it called this is a thriller vlog. To me this is more of a mystery. I thought it was more of a thriller, but it's pretty good so far. I'm feeling like maybe 3.5 to 4 stars. We're gonna see, so I'm popping in a little bit once I finish reading. It tanked. I was feeling optimistic. I was feeling like maybe 4 stars. And I'm here to say I finished, and I'm giving it 2 stars. Okay. Few things. So one, the main character, she just continued to get on my nerves. She was just making the dumbest decisions constantly, over and over, and she'd make the same bad decisions over and over again. Like there was this one guy in her life that she treated so incredibly poorly throughout this entire book, and he's supposed to be like one of her close friends, and I know she's just gone through this horrible trauma and tragedy, so I would expect someone to, you know, maybe not be themselves, you know, I would expect that. But after making the same mistake multiple times over and seeing how much you're hurting your friend, who by the way is also going through a very difficult time because he's a cop in town and he's the one who's having to like count how many people are deceased after this fire. He's like going through all of this. He's a, you know, a first responder, and you're treating him like this too when he's suffering as well. It's not like he's detached from the situation. I mean, yes, it was different than hers, but he's still here in this town. He's helping people, and he's, you know, they're both going through it where they're losing people that they know and trying to find people that they don't know if the fire got to them or not, like, because they haven't heard from them, and that's awful. So I just can't imagine treating, I don't know, maybe if it was like lashing out in the heat of the moment or something, maybe, but just the repeated rudeness, like just beyond rudeness. I was just like, okay, how can you even call this person your friend? Honestly though, she treated everyone really poorly, and it seemed like, because there was flashbacks throughout this book too, which is another criticism we're gonna get to in a minute. There's flashbacks, and I liked the flashbacks in the sense that we got to know more about her, kind of see where she came from, and I think the flashbacks were supposed to make me feel more sympathetic towards her, and they didn't. Not a lot. I mean, don't get me wrong, where there's some rough situations and things she was put through with her family and stuff like that, yes, but did it excuse her behavior? No. Also, my criticism with the flashbacks themselves is the formatting for this book. We would be reading a chapter and we'd be in the present time, we'd be, you know, she's trying to find clues to figure out who this woman in her driveway, Simone, is. She's trying to figure out, you know, who she is, how she's connected to Allison, because she's like, okay, why was this woman, like, why'd she have my address? Why was she heading here in the middle of a wildfire, nonetheless, you know? So she's trying to figure this out, and I understand her getting pretty obsessive about it, even though a lot of everything seems to kind of point towards natural causes, but I understand her. She's gone through this trauma. She's, you know, feeling very obsessive. She's like kind of hell-bent on solving this, and I get that. But the flashbacks, they would just be randomly like a couple paragraphs within a chapter that was in the present day with the sleuthing, and there was just like a little line break. There was not like a separate chapter or anything. It would just jump. So I would be reading and reading and reading and thinking I was in the present time, and then suddenly I'd be like, oh wait, this is the flashback. And it was kind of discombobulating. Like I was just kind of having a hard time getting my footing with the story and like where I was at in it in the timeline, because it felt like we just kept going back to these flashbacks, and there were several flashback timelines. Some would be like her family and her youth and her like relationship with her parents, and then some would be like this like past relationship with another person, and it was hard to keep bouncing around like that, especially when there wasn't any help with the formatting. I really prefer it. I'd prefer to have like a 2-page chapter if it was clearly stated, you know, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, whatever, 1 year ago, whatever the time difference is. I feel like that would have made it less just jarring. I don't know, maybe that was an artistic decision, maybe that was the intent, but I didn't personally love that. I felt like I just kept, like I would only realize a paragraph and oh, this is a flashback, okay, and it was, I don't know, it wasn't my favorite. So final thoughts on this, I'm gonna say 2 stars. Definitely more of a mystery. I'd say the first 100 pages or more feel a little bit more thriller-like, but it definitely turned more mystery as I got into it, which is fine. I'm a big mystery lover as well, so that's fine for me. But if you are looking for something that's like pure thriller, this probably isn't it. And I did really enjoy learning more about wildfires. That sounds, maybe enjoy isn't the best word, but it was interesting. I've never thought about some of the aftermath. I've been fortunate to never have experienced being in a wildfire, and so this was just an interesting look at it from somebody who was right there in the moment, who survived one, and also seeing the effect on the town and how they come together, how they don't come together. It brings up a lot of talk about grief, loss. There's a lot of discussion around obsessiveness and possessiveness, so I would say definitely possible trigger warnings for a lot of like relationship abuse, I would say. I mean, just in general, look up trigger warnings for thrillers if you're concerned about hitting a certain topic, but this one definitely was really heavy on that. And yeah, just to summarize, I'd say main points, main character, I found her just detestable. I honestly really didn't like her. She just kept getting dumber and dumber and dumber, and I could excuse some poor decisions, especially like right after the event, but like even when she had kind of settled down more and was more clear-headed, it seemed, she then would just go off and make like a really dumb decision, and I was just like, I don't understand. I don't know. And she also just treated everybody in her life basically just horribly. Like she just, I don't know why people have her in her life. Like I wouldn't want her in my life. I don't know, but there's that. There was this weird family subplot with her parents that you're kind of following, and I'm not sure if that was supposed to make me more sympathetic towards her, and you know, it was an interesting subplot, but the conclusion to that felt very random. I also felt there was just some threads that weren't really tied up, like things that were hinted at early on in the book, but then we never had like a confirmation or denial that they were true. Like there were kind of these, you know, just these little like seeds planted that, oh, maybe this is a connection or maybe it's this, but then it wasn't really confirmed or either way. So I wanted to kind of have that finalized. But yeah, I'm just really unsatisfied with it. I don't love it. I'm sorry. If you love this, I'm really glad you did, because obviously I went into it wanting to like it. But the strong points for this were the atmosphere, just the Australian heat. You could just feel it. Definitely a very summer, like kind of hot thriller, if you will. So this would be a good thriller for this time of year. The atmosphere with the smoke and the ash and the soot and the, you know, wildfire. I mean, obviously it's a very dramatic, intense atmosphere, so that really had it going for it. And otherwise, I found the writing, you know, really easy to digest. It just seemed like it lacked a bit of structure in terms of the flashbacks and the overall plot needing something to, and I don't know, maybe just making the character a little more likable and something I could root for, and I just wasn't there, because this was definitely a very character-driven mystery, so I really need to be able to connect to her a little bit more, and this I just kind of felt like she was a flat, irritating characters. So those are my final thoughts. This vlog ended up being a bit shorter than I thought it would be because I had a DNF earlier on, and then this one unfortunately just wasn't it for me either, but I did really love Kill For Me, Kill For You, so I would recommend that strongly. I'm still, my head, it's 2 days later and my head is still going wow from the ending and some of the twists from that, so I strongly recommend that. That was fun. So I would really recommend that. Otherwise, these other two just weren't for me. I would love to hear your thoughts though. Have you read any of these books? What were your thoughts on them? I'd love to hear your opinions, even if they're different than mine. That's what makes reading fun, is we all have different experiences with what we read. And otherwise, I hope you'll hit subscribe and like. I do post new book content every week on my channel, all within like the mystery and thriller genre. So whether you like cozy mysteries, murder mysteries, and thrillers, I talk about anything with a mystery element here. So I hope you'll join me. My name's Amy Marie, and thank you for joining me with this little pet sitting getaway and some new thriller releases. See you guys soon. Bye.